before we look at tonight's 4-game NHL slate on DraftKings, let me just say thank you to the people that have subscribed to this channel. I was honestly not expecting anybody to ever subscribe. I'm just a school teacher that likes playing daily fantasy sports and likes making models and working with spreadsheets and dealing with things like statistics and probability. And it was something I was going to do anyway. So I figured I might as well put on YouTube, take the extra couple of minutes. Maybe someone else would find it useful or find some enjoyment out of it. And so to have multiple subscribers already is kind of cool and something that was a really pleasant surprise. So thank you to those people, and thank you to everybody who watches these videos, and I hope they help you. I can't predict the future, but I can use stats and try to pinpoint likelihoods of good things happening for us in the daily fantasy realm. And that's kind of the goal of this whole model and this whole process, is just to try to identify better than average spots where we most likely to have stacks that hit value or lines that score goals or things like that when we're talking about hockey. And hopefully it's helped you, and I'm having fun doing it, so hopefully I can keep doing it in the future. Now on to tonight's 4-game slate. We've got a couple of different teams on than our normal 4-game slates. Got a little mix and mash from some of the smaller slates. We've got the Rangers and the Capitals, Canucks and Predators, Jets and Avalanche, Oilers and Kings tonight. We don't know a lot about who's starting in net for each team. I think the only one that is confirmed or probable is Casey DeSmith, because I think Demko is still out for a couple more days, so we'll get DeSmith in net for the Canucks. The rest are all my best guess. I'd say these two, Georgiev and Skinner, are the two biggest question marks as far as who's actually going to start. Georgiev has not been good all year, was terrible in Game 1, but was really solid in Game 2. And Anunin, the backup, it looks like he was sick or something, so we don't even know if Anunin is able to play. I can't imagine they would switch to Anunin after Georgiev played well and got the win in Game 2. So I think it's likely Georgiev starts. Edmonton, I just don't know. They don't really have a good goalie, whether it's Skinner or Pickard or whoever. I'm not sure it's going to affect the slate too much, but if we do get change in goalies, I'll update the model and we can see how that affects each team's targetability rating for tonight. Speaking of which, the top spot belongs to Nashville, going against the aforementioned Casey DeSmith, who's really the Canucks' backup goalie, even though he's been okay in his extended time as a starter this season. Nashville still gets a pretty prime matchup, and because they're at home, that means Nashville line 1 is the first place I'm looking. And Nashville line 1 is nice because they have top line correlation, obviously, but they also all play on the top power play unit, and they're not super expensive. So it's Forsberg is pricey, and then you can get O'Reilly and Nyquist that are not expensive, and then you can kind of not fit everything in, but you can get close to going whatever you want for your second stack if you go with that Nashville trio. If you want to find a way to spend more money on Nashville, you can also include Roman Josi, who's always expensive, but he's also always in play for, he could have 3+ points, plus the shot bonus, plus the blocks bonus on the same night. That's a realistic possibility for him, and he's one of the few defensemen that has that upside. So you could include Josi instead of one of those 3 skaters. You can go with the 4-man Nashville stack. I'm fine with any of that tonight. But Nashville 1 is probably how I'm going to start building my lineups and then work around that. Coming in behind Nashville, we have Winnipeg and Edmonton, both on the road. So that means I'm going to start with Winnipeg 2 and Edmonton 2 as my targets. I think I prefer Winnipeg 2. They score just slightly higher than Edmonton 2. But again, Georgiev is not good. He led the league in wins simply because he plays for Colorado, so he could give up 4 goals, and the Avs can put up 6 goals. He gets the win. But Georgiev, in a vacuum, has not been a good goalie this year. Winnipeg's offense has been hot and cold, but if they're on a hot night, they could put up 7 goals like they did in Game 1. So for that reason, I think I like Winnipeg 2 more than Edmonton 2. Let's look at daily faceoff. to see Edmonton's projected lines. Just curious if Draisaitl's on line too, and he is. So if you want to go Edmonton too, I'm going to start with Draisaitl and Nuge because they have power play 1 correlation. And then if you want to throw in Bouchard, or you could even go Hyman or McDavid if you have the money and go with the power play stack. If you need to save money, you can go with Foegele for the line 2 stack, or just play Nuge and Draisaitl as a 2-man stack and fill in the rest of the lineup how you see fit. I'm okay with that tonight too. You can save some money then because McDavid and Hyman are so expensive. You can get line 2 for a lot cheaper. And then behind that, we have Colorado 1. This Winnipeg-Colorado series is really anyone's guess. We had that shootout in Game 1. We had Georgiev playing great in Game 2, and Colorado got the win. Now they're in Colorado. Avs are favored when Winnipeg was favored in the first 2 games. It could be another shootout. It could be one of these goalies standing on their head, making 35-plus saves, allowing 2 goals, and winning 3-2 or something like that. It's an exciting series, probably one of my favorites in the first round to actually watch and follow. So either one of these teams, Winnipeg, Colorado, both are in play tonight. Hellebuck is a great goalie. He's had a tough start, but again, he's playing the Avalanche, one of the best offenses in the league, so it's hard to blame him too much. Speaking of the playoffs, I should note that these 2 rows have changed. So up until today, I was using the last 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season for the goalie stats. Now that we have pretty much every goalie with multiple playoff games, I'm switching to the playoff stat. So for most of these, this is a 2-game sample size for their goals against and their save percentage, and then I'll update it for every new playoff game, obviously. So these are smaller sample sizes, but it also is only this series, this opponent, so we can get kind of an idea of how they're performing in this specific matchup. As far as goalies to target, I like Saros at 7,800. They have a significantly higher targetability rating, which means their offense is going to be in a much better spot, which also means I think they're more likely to get the win going against Casey DeSmith. And Saros at 7,800 plus, he's only given up 2.01 goals against, which is second best on the slate behind only Shesterkin. I have no problem going with Saros at 7,800. Seems like a fair price. If you want to get crazy, you want to go high upside, Hellebuck. Again, as I mentioned earlier, he's a great goalie and a tough matchup, but if he's on his A game, 35-plus saves is, I think, not only possible, probably likely, and he could even get to like 40 saves, give up 2 goals, and Winnipeg wins, and he crushes value at 7,100. That's a possible outcome, although playing any goalie against Colorado is going to make you nervous. So GPP only for Connor Hellebuck for sure. And then Shesterkin's probably the most solid goalie. If I had to pick the one goalie that I think is most likely to win, it's Shesterkin. The Rangers are just better than the Capitals. Shesterkin's better than Lindgren, and it's really not even close. His upside is kind of limited with Washington. I don't think he's going to hit 35 saves in most matchups with the Caps. But if you're looking for someone to get you the win, I would start with Shesterkin there. If you've been watching, you know that one of the ways I like to save, or probably my favorite way to save salary, is to find shot-blocking defensemen in plus matchups. So defensemen on teams that block a lot of shots going up against teams that get their shots blocked a lot. We don't have a lot of prime targets on tonight's 4-game slate. The best is Washington. It is a slightly better than average matchup for them. And if you've been watching the last couple of videos, you know that Fehervari has shown up every time. His price keeps climbing, but he's hit the blocks bonus in both matchups with the Rangers so far this series. He even scored a goal in Game 1. But if you want to go cheaper, just above min salary is Alexiev, and he's also hit the blocks bonus. So if I'm ranking these two, it's Fehervari first because he's playing about 3 more minutes a game. And he does have very slightly higher offensive upside than Alexiev, who I think has like 4 points on the season or something ridiculous like that. But they both have hit the shot blocks bonus, and at that price, that's really all I'm looking for. So Nashville won, and then decide which of these 3 teams you want to use as your secondary stack. And then I would try to get like a one-off or maybe a mini stack from one of the other 2 lineups. Use one of these guys to save salary if you need to, and then figure out which of the goalies you want to go to. For me, if it's high-priced, Shesterkin. If it's mid-priced, I want Saros. And if I need to save money and go for a high-risk, high-reward, I'm going for Connor Hellebuck at 7,100 tonight. If there's anything else you all would like me to add to this model, a specific stat or a projection of some kind, things that you think would help you build better fantasy lineups, let me know. And also, if it helps you all to actually see the skaters on these lines instead of just putting Nashville 1, if I put Forsberg, O'Reilly, Nyquist, if that helps you too, let me know, and I'm happy to do that in addition to just putting the line number. All right, I think that pretty much covers things. Again, the model will be linked down below. I'll update if we get changes in who's starting in goal, and we can see how that affects our targets for tonight. Good luck, everybody.